Yo! What's up, GameLeaper? Are you still getting a Pro Guides ad? The Jizz here, and if you want to know who the 15 strongest champions will be in the MID lane next patch, buckle up. Now, there are some champion and item changes in 11.13 that will certainly shake things up, and it's going to be exciting to see exactly what will go down, but before we look into the future, I want you to shape your future by signing up to the GameLeap website, and you know why? Well, you can get exclusive access to the thousands of videos, courses, guides, high elo analyses that our challenger players and coaches upload daily. That's right, daily. And these will 100% help you to improve and climb on the rift. So get signed up, links in the description and comment section. Alright, let's get into it, guys, and coming in at number 15 is Viego, and Viego is getting nerfed next patch, so how can he be on this list? Okay, so your lifesteal from minions is down, big deal. Now this might actually mean something into range matchups because you are going to find the early game a lot tougher, but here's the thing, guys. Your sustain is still going to be good enough for you to survive until level 4, 5, 6, etc. So you can get your Borg Spike, your Shield Bow, your Divine Sundra, whatever you're building. So what I'm saying here is that this nerf isn't going to be enough to push you out of the mid lane, and enemy champions are still not going to be able to push you out of the mid lane because you're still going to have enough sustain, and next patch you're actually going to have more kill threat because your E is getting buffed, so the missile speed, so the speed at which it travels from you to a wall, this is increasing, and your E is also giving you more movement speed at each rank, which means that when you're chasing an enemy champion, you're trying to get onto them, you're gap closing, this is deadlier, which means you're going to get a few more kills, you're going to get some more assists, you can make some more plays, and I did just allude to it, but I think Divine Sundra on Viego and Immortal Shield Bow as well, these two mythics, because they're not getting nerfed, I think it just validates Viego's presence in the mid lane for another patch, so he comes in at number 15 for 11.13. Now ahead of Viego, guys, we have two similar champions here, and these are the half brothers, these are the Wind brothers, Yasuo and Yone. So some of you, probably not most, will be happy to know that yes, the Ways of the Wind are going to be strong next patch. Reason being is simply because Immortal Shield Bow, Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, all of this power is still going to be in the game, none of this is getting nerfed, and as far as AD champions go in the mid lane, because of the massive Prowler's Claw nerf, which we'll get into soon, and there are a few other nerfs as well, this actually makes you more valuable as AD champions. You actually go up in the pecking order. So Yasuo and Yone come in at number 14, guys. Now beating these two to number 13 is Sylas, and I'm sure you've seen a bunch of Sylas. He's one of the most played champions, and one of the reasons why he's picked so much recently and he's going to be even better next patch is because mages are actually pretty good. And yes, next patch, because each mage mana mythic is decreasing by 200 gold, so Luden's Tempest, Leandri's Anguish, and Everfrost, all of these are going down in gold, which means the mages are going to be more powerful, and because Sylas's ultimate just counters pretty much every mage in the game, this is why Sylas is going to be more of a threat next patch. And yes, okay, Cosmic Drive is copping a little bit of a late game nerf, but it's still going to be good, and Sylas comes in at number 13. Now beating Sylas to the number 12 spot is the first AD assassin on this countdown, and this is Zed. And for Zed and the other AD assassin who we're about to mention, these two have dropped heaps, and the reason being I just mentioned it is because of the Prowler's Claw nerf. So the cooldown is increasing to 90 seconds, the lethality is going down, and this used to be the highest in the game, and the sand swipe active where you can jump to an enemy target, this can be a minion in a jungle camp, well from 11.13 onwards you can only do this to enemy champions, which means that your actual playmaking potential and your kill threat is down so much, so you can no longer jump to a ranged minion and then onto the enemy champion, so there's going to be less kills on the table here, but the reason Zed is still on this list is just because your damage is still going to be very high, because Seeker's Arm Guard got nerfed, there isn't going to be much armor built in the mid lane still, so you're still going to be able to kill people for sure, just probably not as many once you get to your mythic spike. Now ahead of Zed, guys, coming in at number 11, I honestly think this mid laner has flown under the radar for way too long, and this is Kassadin. Not really flown under the radar, but I haven't really mentioned him probably as much as I should have because Kassadin, I think he's really strong. Now yes, in the early game you can get cucked pretty hard, but because Everfrost is decreasing by 200 gold, you're going to get to this power spike quicker, which also means because Kassadin you are very squishy and accessible, even once you get to level 6 you don't necessarily have the cooldown in your ultimate to survive, so Everfrost gives you that peel you need, and also gives you the damage that your full combo sometimes needs so you can blow people up. So getting to this power spike quicker is a big thing, and a bit like Sylas as well, I think we're going to see more mages pick next patch, and Kassadin is one of the ultimate mage counters, of course, because of your magic resist, so Cass comes in at number 11. Now into the top 10, guys, if you're enjoying these countdowns, please let me know by leaving a like down below. And coming in at number 10, yes, this is Qiyana, the only other AD assassin on this countdown. So Zed at number 12, Qiyana at number 10, and Qiyana was number 1 last patch. She dropped 9 places, and why is this? Simply because of Prowler's Claw and the change that is coming. And with Qiyana, it's more impactful, I feel, than for Zed, because before with Prowler's Claw, you could actually Prowler's Claw to one of the ranged minions and then E onto the enemy champion. This actually used to be one of the most common engages and combos for Qiyana players to jump onto the enemy champion and blow them up. Well, that's not going to be here anymore, which means you're not going to kill your lane opponent as much, and that then means that your probably not going to have as many leads in the mid lane, and your impact on the rest of the map isn't going to be as legit. So you still have damage, of course, and you still have kill threat from level 3 onwards. It's just, yeah, not as much. So Qiyana comes in at number 10. Now, beating her to the number 9 spot is Lee Sin, and Lee Sin next patch, guys, is getting nerfed. So his E at later ranks is getting nerfed in terms of damage. But does this really mean anything? No, because your E's damage at level 1 is 100, and it does magic damage. How good's that? So if you're against melee champions, this is still going to be really annoying to play against. And against ranged champions, where you can still just max your Q, and even if you were into a melee champion and you wanted to max your E, well, because you're getting a little less damage later on, maybe you just put 3 points in your E, and then you max out your Q. So this nerf really doesn't mean that much. But there is a more significant change. So first of all, Gore Drinker is still going to be really good. Nothing is changing there. So Gore Drinker, tick in the box. But Black Cleaver is getting adjusted, and to be honest, it is just a nerf. Yes, you're getting a little more HP, but you're losing movement speed in its passive. So each time you damage the enemy champion, you're getting less movement speed, so your stickiness isn't going to be as sticky. So maybe this means you're going to get less kills, you're going to escape less situations, but on the whole, Lee Sin is still going to be very strong, so he comes in at number 9. Now, beating Lee, a similar champion coming in at number 8 is Nocturne, and Nocturne coming in at number 8, you might be like, but Stridebreaker is getting gutted. Yes, Stridebreaker is getting gutted in terms of the active, so the dash is no longer going to be in the game. Great news. But if you're Nocturne, this is great because you have an innate dash in your ultimate. So when you do ult onto the enemy champion, you are landing on top of their head. You don't need a dash to get to them because you're already there, which then means the 90% slow you're now getting in 11-13, which is ridiculous by the way, this change is actually better for you. So when you do use your ultimate to get onto someone and then you use Stridebreaker's active, there is even less chance they escape and more chance of you getting kills. So Nocturne comes in at number 8. Now this next champion, guys, I've always been a fan of Anivia. And the reason like these other mages Anivia is on this countdown is simply because the mage mythics are going down in price. So if you want to go Everfrost, Luden's Tempest, Leandru's Anguish, the fact that you can build any of these mythics as Anivia is an advantage in itself. And yes, because these are going to be 200 gold cheaper, you're getting to that power spike quicker, you're getting to that mana quicker, which then means you can spam your abilities and keep your ultimate up for longer. And for Anivia as well, guys, ever since Riot updated her before the season began, I just think she's been really strong. It's now easier to auto attack and last hit, it's now easier to harass, your Q travels at a quicker rate, your E does double the damage even if your Q just clips the enemy champion, and it almost feels for me anyway as if Anivia is still underappreciated, so she comes in at number 7. Now beating Anivia, guys, to the number 6 spot on the countdown is Rumble, and Rumble, like some other champions on this list, is getting nerfed next patch. So what's happening exactly? Well, for Rumble, your W's cooldown is increasing at earlier ranks, and your W's movement speed is down as well. Now your W in the mid lane isn't that big of a deal. Yes, okay, if you don't have it, you don't have that shield, but the movement speed, yeah, okay, it probably means something. You're going to dodge less skill shot, you're going to get hit by more damage, okay, so that's not great, and the cooldown is increasing, so you're going to have your shield and this movement speed less. But if we think about the actual strengths of Rumble in the mid lane, guys, there's still so many positives here. You have one of the most oppressive early games, if not the most oppressive early game in the game. It's very hard for enemy champions to actually jump onto you now because of that 50% attack speed you have in your passive, so if you do overheat, some might even argue you're actually scarier when you are overheating because you do so much damage. And what this early pressure means in most, if not every game, is that you're going to get your Sorcerer Shoe spike, your Rocket Bell spike for free, and you can almost always help your jungler secure Scuttle Crabs, impact the map. You can still roam, of course. Yes, it might be less effective because of the movement speed reduction, but Rumble is still going to be super strong mid lane, comes in at number 6. Now we're into the top 5, guys, and by the way, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you don't miss any of the Jizz's uploads. And coming in at number 5 is Katarina. And 11-13 is going to be a great patch, and you know why? Because nothing is getting nerfed related to Katarina. There's no direct nerfs, there's no item nerfs in here, so if you're going Nash's Tooth Riftmaker, Nash's Tooth Rocket Bell, Sorcerer Shoes in there as well, you are still going to be one-shotting enemy champions and cleaning up the rift. Now beating Katarina to the number 4 spot, guys, is one of the strongest mages for 11-13, and this is Ahri. Now Cosmic Drive, the movement speed may be getting nerfed at later levels, but the movement speed on Ahri, you already have that in your W, so it's, yeah, and you have lots of mobility anyway because you're Spirit Rush, so you're not really going to feel this as much as other champions. But what's also great as well, which I've already mentioned 1,000 times, is that yes, your Everfrost, if you decide to go with Luden's Tempest, these are 200 gold cheaper, and because you're going to be getting these post level 6, this means that if you do land your charm, they are going to die. Like that enemy champion is going to be blown up. And because you're getting to your mythic power spike quicker, this means Zonya's, Cosmic Drive, these other items you might get, maybe Void Staff, Death Cap, whatever build route you're going, you're getting access to these items earlier in a game, which means you can get more kills and just essentially end the game quicker because these power spikes are accelerated. So Ahri comes in at number 4. Now we're into the top 3, guys, and it is the Jizz's last friendly reminder to you to check out the GameLeap website if you want to improve at League of Legends. And who doesn't? Like, if you're tired of toiling away in gold, silver, diamond, platinum, whatever elo you are in, it is time to get signed up, get your dad's credit card, and give it a swipe so you can get access like thousands of your fellow summoners do to our exclusive videos that are designed by the best to help you become one of the best. To get signed up, links down below. Now, coming in at number 3 is a champion who you've seen a lot in Pro Play recently, and this is Akali. And for Akali, I remember when the rework came in, everyone was going nuts. We thought she was going to be so bad, but how the tables have turned. She's actually one of the strongest mid laners right now. You could even put her at number 1, and I wouldn't be unhappy. And the reason she's so strong, guys, is quite simply because of level 6 and her E damage. I don't know if you guys have been hit by Akali's E, but when she jumps back onto you with the second part of it, you lose half your HP. Like, I don't care if you have 6 magic resist items, it ends up doing more damage than her ultimate. Like, it's crazy. And yes, when she hits level 6, she has that gap closer, she has that dash, she has so much kill potential. It's just very hard to 1v1 her at that point. And even though in the first few levels you can pressure her because of her energy costs and her cooldowns, but if that Akali has fleet footwork, Doran shield, second wind, they have so much sustain anyway that the damage you actually do to them doesn't really mean much. It's like versing a Viego in a way. So Akali takes the bronze medal for 11-13. Now, beating her to the silver medal, the runner-up, is Annie. And the reason Annie is so good, well, it's quite simple, guys. Sorcerer shoes and Hextech rocket belt. What more do I need to say? Back in the day, you used to be so reliant on your flash, and you still kind of are. But the fact that rocket belt is now viable because of the magic penetration you're getting, which works so well with your high base damages and your high damage anyway, is great for Annie because of the dash. This means that when you have your ultimate in team fights, you don't have to wait for your flash to be up to have an impact. You can use your rocket belt to get in there. So not only is the dash useful, but also the movement speed. So you're just getting more opportunities to get more ultimates off, to get in position, to carry games and win team fights. So Annie comes in at number 2. Now, beating her to the number 1 spot is honestly, this champion has probably had the highest win rate for the entire season in the mid lane. It's just that, yes, in high reloads he can struggle a little bit, but for the most part, across the board, Malzahar is the number 1. And next patch, the reason Malzahar is coming in at number 1 is because Liandry's Anguish is 200 gold cheaper, which means your Nether Grasp, you're going to get this more often because you're getting to Anguish quicker, which means you're getting that ability haste quicker, you're getting more Nether Grasp off, and this is what Malzahar is all about. Locking enemy champions down, especially those assassins who you're going to see a lot of in lower elos, and he's just very hard to push out a lane. His passive, his wave clear, it's so hard to get onto him, and even if you do fall behind and you have a bad laning phase as Malzahar, you're always going to be relevant just because of how impactful your ultimate is. Like, it can turn team fights around and completely lock down enemy champions who might be fed. So Malz takes the number 1 spot for 11-13, guys. Let me know in the comments who you think should be number 1, and if you agree or disagree with any of the champions on this list, let me know down below. This has been the Jizz, and until tomorrow's video, bye.